So for our gadget of interest, Jason has had a lovely little surprise in the post. Yes, the Spectrum. The upcoming 2024 version, there he's holding it up to the camera now, of the Spectrum by Retro Games Limited. It's a modern take on the iconic ZX Spectrum, combining nostalgia with updated technology. And he's going to talk us through what this new release offers. So talk us through it then. What's it got? What games can we play?
Oh, what games can you play? You just cut to the chase, Suzi, don't you? Okay, you're testing me now. How about Ant Attack? Exelon. I believe, one of my absolute favourites you get with this modern interpretation, which I've got so much to tell you about, is Way of the Exploding Fist, which was my favourite karate game. I believe School Days is one of the games that you get with it. Penetrator, Manic Miner is in there. Horace Goes Skiing, which I know so many people absolutely loved. The Hobbit. I'm a huge fan of this. Let me do one thing for you, which is to compare it to my actual Spectrum, which I've got there. Look at that. There's the real one, look. And below it, the new The Spectrum. And so the idea is that what you get is a really high build quality, faithful resurrection of what for many people, certainly in the UK and Europe, was, you know, their standout favourite first generation personal computer and gaming device back in the 80s. But you get all the modern conveniences of, and I'm aware that my camera likes to focus on my eyes, so if I try and do that, you're probably not really going to see. Well, I'll hold it here and make it a bit easier. What you've got is a home button, which is quite interesting. You go back to the home, which is a nice convenient feature. You've got 4 USB ports. Now that's for things like gamepads, joysticks, things like that. You get an HDMI out, which provides you with 720p at 50 or 60 hertz. And you power the thing via a 5-volt DC, normal USB-C cable. So that's quite easy. So you just get your normal kind of phone charger plug, whack a cable into that, and it all works really, really well. I think it's 48 games that you get with it. It emulates the 48K, the 128K spec, and a few others, I think. It offers, I think it's got CRT modes where it can emulate the cathode ray tube kind of fuzz and, on-screen assets. Yeah, you can do things like there's a replay mode where you can go back. I think it's 40 seconds. I'm doing all this from memory. Mid-game, you can save mid-game as well. You used to, via a ribbon cable, be able to connect what they called a micro drive to this, and it enabled you to save stuff and load stuff and all the rest of it. It was a kind of upgrade from the traditional cassette. What they've done for the Spectrum is they've provided you with, you don't get it with it, you have to buy it separately, I think, but it's a USB micro drive, but it looks exactly like the micro drive from back in the day, even though it's a tiny version of it. So you can, whatever code you've got, whatever kind of ROMs you've got, you can emulate your favorite classics on this drive, plug them in. Also, it's got a kind of faux cassette loading mode as well. Do you remember the sound that you used to get when you loaded off a cassette or saved to a cassette? You can also do that. And the way that it works, it's got a 720p output, like I said, but onto most screens that are 16:9, obviously the only playable area is 4:3, and so it's got these kind of what would you call them, like border artworks, and there's lots to choose from. I think there's 12 different ones.
And the rubber keyboard as well, for, like the original.
Yeah, the rubber keyboard, to my mind, feels identical. I mean, I've got both in front of me now, and the one at the top, which is the Spectrum, the new one, it feels exactly the same. I can't remember what material that is. It is a specific material, and it feels absolutely identical. It's got that lovely kind of slightly new waxy feel to it, which I remember from back in the day. You can program BASIC on it like you could. The one I'm holding is serial number 14. I just thought I'd point that out, which I'm very proud to have. Serial number 4. I've got the 14th one off the production line. How cool is that? Aren't I lucky? Brilliant. And you can get, depending on whether you want to pay extra, you can get this as a free PDF download from their website, or if you've got the posh pack, or you can buy this separately. This is the manual from, and it looks just like the manual from back in the day. It's really, really similar, which for me, this has as much kind of, vintage cool as the device itself. I remember going through this manual and trying to teach myself BASIC, not being particularly successful at it.
I remember doing that at school. So it's basically a retro gamer's dream. This is just before Christmas being released, $89.99. So pretty decent price.
I love it. I just love it. I can't say. If you said to me, is there a better gift at that price for someone of that era, the kind of post 40-year-old? I mean, you don't need to be post 40 to enjoy it, but those of us. I'm in my 50s, and it doesn't get any better. The fact that you get 48 games with it, the fact that you can load just about any game. You also get the opportunity to play homebrew titles. If you want to buy those off a website, buy an independent creator, download them and whack them into your brand new The Spectrum. You can play them too. So there's a lot. You can end up playing hundreds and hundreds of games on this, not just the old school originals.